If the powers that be at TPT asked you, what do you think we should do to improve TPT, what would you say? If you would like my answer to this question, then stick around. Hello everyone, my name is Sherry from Rolling Acres Education. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this is not your first time. And I want to be upfront that I totally stole this video idea from It's All Primary. I'm going to link her video below. She did one similar to this, and I thought, I've thought of a lot of those things myself, and so I'd like to do a video on this, but I want to make sure and give her credit and encourage you to watch hers, because ours aren't the same. We had some that were the same, some that were kind of a different version of the same thing. And so I'm going to share some of mine and a couple of hers that were similar to mine, and then encourage you to watch her video because she's just fun. I really enjoy watching her videos, and I think you will too if you have not. So what is the very first thing that I would suggest? Now, I have two that come to mind every time somebody brings this question up. There's two that just stand out to me. And the first one is to give us an impression stat. And what that is how many times we show up in a search. The first stat that we have in our dashboard is when someone clicks on our cover. So we know that how many times someone's clicked on our cover, but we don't know how many times someone's seen our cover. How many times someone has scrolled past our cover or scrolled to our cover and stopped on it. And why does that matter? Because it would give us information about our views being low. Are our views low because we just don't show up in search? Or are they low because our covers aren't encouraging people to click on them? So, if you have low views, you might think, well, people don't like my cover. Let me change my cover, when it may be that maybe 80% of people who see your cover click on it. And that would mean your cover is awesome. But there's no way for you to know what that percentage is because you don't know how many times people are looking at your cover. So this is number one. I think this would be so helpful to sellers to know whether or not it's SEO, it's my title, or is it my cover, and having an impression stat would really help that. Now, I know that Jarrett, I believe his name is Jarrett from YDP, has said that they could do this. That they could, this is something that they would be able to do, and so hopefully they will do that. Okay, had to take a little break there. Train went by, and it was really, really loud today. So anyway, so the first thing would be impressions. The second thing that I would love to see is what I used to call custom bundles. When I watched It's All Primary's video, of course, we were all suggesting in the comments what we would like to see, and I said custom bundles, and she referenced that in her next video and gave it a better name, which would be custom discounts or bulk discounts. And it's kind of the same idea, and that's really what I did mean. But the idea is that customers could go to your store and they would get a discount for buying multiple products. Now, I was thinking custom bundle, like they could go through and pick, like you could say, pick 10 resources and get them for this much or something. But I like this idea better of like a bulk discount. Like TPT could set it up, and obviously you would have, this is not anything that they would make you do, but you could set up something to where if somebody buys up to 10 resources, they get this discount. If they buy up to so many, they get this discount, and so forth, to where this would really encourage, I believe, multiple purchases, more so than a bundle. Because in a bundle, and I think bundles would still sell because it's easy to just click on that and get them. But a couple of things. Number one, they may be like, oh, I really don't need that many resources, and I don't think I'd use all those. Or they might be like, yeah, I bought those other, because sometimes you make bundles after you've made the products, and they may already have a couple products and think, yeah, it's just not worth it because I already have those. Now, yes, TPT will work out some refunds if they've already bought some of the things in your bundle, but they have to reach out to TPT, and they may just not even want to do that. But here they could be like, oh, wow, I like this resource. I'd like to have some more like it. And they could go to your store and pick so many. And especially if you're like, oh, buy this many. And they would be encouraged, like if you said buy up to 10 and get this kind of discount, they might be like, oh, let's get up to 10. So I just think this would be a marvelous thing to do, is to give customers a chance to pick their own discounts, okay? I just really think it would encourage multiple purchases and encourage people to visit your store instead of just clicking on things like, oh, if you go to my store, blah blah blah. And I personally, I just think that you could do that. And so, and this would really, custom categories would really fit into here because, like if they just wanted middle school science resources, they didn't have to scroll through everything. Somehow make that even more prominent. Check out these middle school science resources by 10, whatever. The logistics is TPT's problem, not mine. I just come up with the ideas, and they can figure out all that part. Okay, so those are my two major ones. Like if it was like you have two things that you could recommend, those would be the two. Those would be it. The third one is something that I would like to see, and it's our primary suggested one way to do this. I have another idea, but either way, the main idea would be that sellers that make like really good money on TPT would have the option to get a higher commission than the 80%. And I think this would benefit both TPT and the seller. And here's a couple reasons. First of all, a lot of sellers, when they start making a lot of money, open their own stores off of TPT to get a higher commission. Really, basically, they get 100% minus any, business expenses and things like that. But the point is, they are like, I'm trying to give it 20% because in the beginning, the idea is traffic. But if they have a lot of traffic, they might think, I'm just going to sell off of TPT and make more money. Some of us don't want to do that because we just don't want to mess with it. I don't want to open another store and all that. But then at the same time, you think, yeah, but if I get a lot of traffic and I can make more money. And if TPT was like, hey, just pay us a little more money and we'll give you more commission, I'd be like, hey, I'm all for it. I would rather just pay a little more money and get a higher commission than to go through all that trouble having to collect sales tax and, setting up your store. And you're probably going to have to pay some amount of money to have a store and, just all these things. And if TPT was like, hey, we'll just give you a higher commission if you just give us a little more money, I'd be like, I'm all for that. So, maybe like a 90% commission, like you get 80 for this, 85 for this, and they could just have tiers and you could choose which one you want. Now she goes into a membership possibility, which I'll let her explain that, which is also a good idea. There's a couple ways to do this, but the main idea is that you would give those sellers who make a lot of money the option to make a higher commission and encourage them to stay on TPT without making up. Now some of them are still going to do it, and that's fine, but someone like me who really doesn't want to mess with it, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it might be worth it. Hey, if they offer me more commission just for paying a little more money, I'd be on that so fast. So those are my three, okay? The impressions, the bulk discounts, and the getting higher commission for a higher premium. Those are the three I would love to see. One of the other ones that she suggested that I think is great is to have little badges and stuff to recognize sellers. And I'm not exactly sure that this, because when she did it, then I started thinking other things. So go watch hers to get her idea exactly. But I was thinking, first of all, yeah, top 100 seller, top 1% of stores, things like that. But also some way to reckon. And top 1% of stores is a way to recognize new sellers. New sellers can get up there pretty quickly. They didn't start doing this till my third year. But according to the sales that get you into certain places, I would have been there the first year. So a new seller can get in that 1% pretty quickly. But maybe, highest converting new product, something, I don't know, spotlight on a new seller, something to recognize sellers for their work, but especially to recognize new sellers. Because I know some people think, oh, they don't care anything about new sellers. That's crazy. Any business wants new people to come in. As a matter of fact, when I worked for VIP Kid, people used to complain because they tried to get teachers in. Because when you have a business that's based on bulk, which TPT is, they don't get much per resource. They get much because they sell so many resources. So the more resources they have, the better. And so when I was with VIP Kid, they would, for the first few weeks that you were a teacher, they would put you at the top of the search to try to get you some traction. And so if there's something way TPT could do to recognize new sellers that are really maybe not even just selling, but like, wow, this person's really putting up some resources. Let's encourage them to keep doing that. Just anything, something to promote new sellers, new seller of the month, or something to get those new sellers some traction. So those are the big things I would like to see TPT do. I don't know. I'm not really big in the TPT world. There's a lot of 1% sellers, and that's I guess my biggest claim to fame in TPT is that I'm a top 1%, but there's a lot of those. So hopefully somebody who knows something will get a hold of some of these ideas, or maybe when they did the survey that I missed, a lot of people suggested some of these. These are just things I would love to see. So what would you like to see TPT do? Drop it in the comments if you'd like. But please also check out It's All Primaries video. She has some on there also. And just remember, you've got this, God's got you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.